Jessica Levinson joins me now. Is that what we're going to? Hi, Jessica. Okay, I believe we have an announcement from the judge about whether or not Sean Diddy Combs will be released. Tell my audience what that announcement is.
So it looks like right now the judge is denying bail, meaning that he will not be released pending the sentencing hearing. I want to emphasize that there are two things happening basically at once. Today is about the conditions of release, if any, and it looks like the reporting from inside the courtroom is that Sean Combs will not be released on bail. The judge right now is going through a number of different reasons. Again, very quick reporting indicates that the judge is citing to the defense attorney's own statements during the case that Sean Combs is a violent person, has had violent personal relationships. But of course, the defense said that doesn't mean he's guilty of racketeering. It looks like the judge is now using those statements to say he should be denied bail. Separate, what we know is that there will be a sentencing hearing. The prosecution has said, we're going to ask for a good deal of time. We don't know exactly what that is. And the defense obviously wants no time at all. So two different hearings on two different issues. The sentencing is not today.
Right. And Jessica, to remind the audience, Sean Diddy Combs has been in custody since September. Is it, and I know this is not a typical case, he is by far not a typical defendant, and these are not typical charges, but if you have been incarcerated and found guilty of some of the charges alleged by a jury, is it typical that you remain in custody?
So it depends. It's a really good question. It depends on how long you've been in custody. It looks like, again, based on reporting from what's happening right now, that the judge is saying that the pretrial detention was mandatory. And the judge is going to look at what typically happens when you have been found guilty of what happened in this case, what's called a Mann Act violation. And so I think your question is so well crafted in the sense that this is not a typical defendant, but we want to treat this in as typical a way as possible in the sense of what generally happens. He was detained pre-trial. The judge has said that was mandatory. You didn't fall within one of the exceptions. What now happens when you've been convicted of two of those particular charges? That's what the judge is going to be looking at. And again, right now, considering it sounds like statements that the defense made, essentially admitting that Sean Combs is somebody who has had personal problems, but they were doing so to try and argue that he should not be found guilty.
And Jessica, just to update you and our audience, I've been told from the control room that the judge has said that Sean Diddy Combs will remain detained until sentencing. That is the announcement from the judge, detained until sentencing. I don't think we have, or maybe we do, I might have missed it, it's certainly possible, a sentencing date yet?
I don't think so. I think we could see this happen in a few weeks. What's going to happen is that the prosecution will submit a sentencing memorandum. The defense will do the same. And the prosecution will argue that there are aggravating circumstances here. The prosecution, I think, will argue that there is evidence that and facts that the jury heard, which are related to the crimes that he was convicted of, that indicate that there should be prison time in this case. The defense will say there's mitigating factors. It's a first-time offense. He wasn't convicted of those more serious charges. And then the judge really has discretion. There's no mandatory minimum here. The judge will make a determination as to what is in the interest of justice. Let's remember, federal judges have a lot of discretion about what to do here.
And Jessica, just for the benefit of the audience, and this is a hard thing I'm going to ask you, but sift the not guilty and guilty verdicts, and if it's possible, put them in a dimensionality of gravity. Clearly, the most serious charges Sean Diddy Combs was found not guilty of, but it's not as if he's getting off scot-free. Try to help my audience get a sense of what the jury wrestled with and where it came down.
Yes. So I've talked to a couple of prosecutors throughout the day, and they've said, look, let's be